Oh my God, this is crazy. Ah, this is crazy. Welcome,
Two.
an unimaginable.
Life.
Imagine if you're in a room and there's 150 people
Mm-hmm.
all kind of murmuring and talking. That's all I got.
Who wants to step forward?
See, I'm trying to say, okay, can you guys give me some categories? Because I know we've asked for people that were well known or would be well known to us now, like, his either historical or celebrities or something, but it's just all firing. So can we give me like politics, film, music? You just at least give me some categories so I can what the hell? All right, let me just do this. Let me do this. Um, Gender. Let me say female. I don't know. Do you have a preference?
It doesn't matter.
We got to tell them
Oh,
something.
we have to say something?
I mean, I don't know how to get them to file. I don't know how to get one person in. All right, let's just start with girls. Okay,
Okay.
just let me just start with girls. Just everybody else go away if you're not a girl. I don't know what to do.
Okay. Does that work?
Okay, yeah. Sarah from says that's it. That was her. She's like just narrow it down. All right,
Okay.
just narrow it down. Female, say if you want
Born in the
politics.
1900s.
Born in the 1900s. Okay.
Okay. American.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Okay. Is
Got
that
it.
okay?
Yep.
Do we
Okay,
need
that helps.
do we need more?
Not yet. Let me just settle here and see. Um, Female American born in the 1900s. Okay, that quieted down a lot. So there's just a handful. So, okay, let's say we go movies or something.
Okay.
That would be the thing I might know the least about. So
Well,
let me go
is
movies.
is Marilyn Monroe in that group?
Why
Would
do you
she?
want Marilyn Monroe?
Well,
Just thought?
this is the one that came to mind.
Or is it?
Yep.
All right. Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
I think I got her. Ma'am,
You
okay.
did good.
I know nothing about, if this is you, I know nothing about you. I get nothing. Oh man. I know like, some famous photographs and I know um a couple of names of movies, I think. But I don't know much else.
Okay. Ask her
Um
birth date.
Summer, summertime, 1919 1926, 1926.
Ask her what her real name was.
She says everybody knows that
Not the
it's
last
Norma
name.
Jean.
Yep.
Okay, your last name. Yeah, that's true. I mean, I was like, am I right on it's Norma Jean? Because I thought I knew that.
Yeah.
Her last name starts with an M, she says. M.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's funny. If it's right. Is it like Mortensen? Because
Yep. It's Mortensen.
I have a grocery store in Sarasota that I like. It's Mortensen's grocery. They're just okay. Oh yeah,
Okay.
I wouldn't have known that. Okay.
Yeah.
I think I thought maybe her. Why would I have said if I had to guess? Like if I had to say, I would have said her last name was Baker, Norma Jean Baker. Where did I ever get that?
Yeah. I never heard Mortensen before ever.
Oh, okay. She's That's interesting.
What?
Well, I just asked why we would it. Why? Where did that come from? Where did that name come from? And she said she had like she's saying lots of families, like 9 families. Like she was passed around from families. So
Mm.
Mortensen um was not like it was a name of a family, I think, that she lived with um when she was a child.
Mm.
I think that's what she's saying.
Where was she born?
California. She said she was born in LA. Really?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Well, I thought she was like from somewhere like
Uh,
Kansas or something.
yeah, me too.
Uh-huh.
Totally.
Right. See, I don't know anything about it. That's great. Okay.
What was her favorite moment in life?
Wow. If I understand this right, she's looking at a picture. She's, I think, with her mom the day she was told that that was her father. That's your father, that she actually had a father, and that he was this, thin, she's giving me like Clark Gable looking man. And that's, she remembers being really happy.
How old was she then?
Like around 7 or 8, I think.
Her mother's name was Gladys Pearl Baker.
She's stopping you at that too.
Okay.
Like her mother's, the Monroe comes from her mother's somewhere descendant. Her mother's name was somewhere in there, Monroe.
I didn't know this, that she was an orphan. Or she was.
So that's what she's saying. She said she had like 9 different families. She lived in orphanages. And,
What was the most difficult moment of her life?
something about screaming, falling down the steps. Her mom, yeah, like I thought you were. It's something to do with her mom and her mom being taken away, like. But seems like it. She's showing me like she's a teenager even. Like somehow she must have been with her mom eventually, or somehow, or something. Like that somebody took her mom away. Like her mom was crazy. Took her mom away, and then the house, like the furniture, then the house, and she got put back into a orphanage again.
From her perspective now, how did the life turn out? And what worked, what didn't work, that sort of thing.
Yeah, but come on.
Well, just
No,
what?
I'm just talking to her. Like, come on, right? This is a whole sort of an essence thing here that I'm trying to get. Whoa. She's she says that like the dream, like the dream to be an actress, right? To do that. And she says she had like no talent, and she knew that, right? But it was it was such a she was so obsessed with it, and she had no money. She didn't eat for days at a time, for a long time. She couldn't eat, didn't eat, no money to eat. Okay. Owned like one pair of shoes, one pair of stockings, and would fix them, and sew them up. And the dream to be an actress wasn't it wasn't about, she didn't care about the money part, right? It wasn't about money. It was about standing there with the lights on her and everything hushed, and she just knew that when that happened, that she would know who she was. And everything worked, and the life was perfect and great. There are no pictures of me old.
That worked out.
That worked out. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. How old would you be right now? 96, she says? She'd be
Yeah,
96?
I guess. If she was born, yeah,
96,
or
97?
98,
Yeah.
actually,
96.
1926. Yeah. Now,
Wow.
was this the major intention prior to your birth to have this method of discovering who you are?
Her intention was about value, um, understanding understanding her value. See if I can get some more. There's a lot. She's not talking so much in sentences. Some, but it's like this. I'm having to let it all kind of come in and understand what it means. Somehow she part of the path was that she was sort of bought and sold even when she was a kid. Um, okay, yeah, not in the way that necessarily that I'm thinking, but like people letting her live there because they got the government money or
Mm-hmm.
something, right, for her to live there. But she was a big kid. She was like big, overgrown, so she was like a good worker, I guess, is what she's saying. So people would get paid plus they would get her. Um, and okay, then there's other things as well where like early on she got some real aversion to the casting couch. She refused that all because and it was because of that, and she was learning her value. So wow, okay,
How much of her childhood
huh.
was thought about prior to her birth, was planned? Or was it the universe put her in the perfect place automatically based on the intention?
Your milkshake that you put everything in? She said it's like that. That yes, there's specific to it, but from a perspective there, the details are it sure that's perfect.
Right.
This day, this time, whoop, right? And it's not that the detail of it, it's just that you just know that it's perfect. So was it sit down and plan, I'm gonna be born to this person on this day? From her perspective, not really. It's just this vibrational match, and you go and it's just like showing me like the stars, and the stars align because there's always balance, right? There's always balance, those coming in and going out of any physical reality. Okay, all right.
So, with
Hmm.
the stars aligning, that just, talks about astrology, that that there
Yeah,
that there is the place, the time, the date is all part of that.
it is.
Okay.
It is. Here's I think what she's saying to me. There's not there's not a grain of sand that is unimportant. Okay, so the details are in the stars. The details are it, like they are that tapestry. Wow, if I can really understand what she's saying.
Yeah.
Okay,
But it's not like you pick every detail. It's
yeah,
the
it's not like
system. Yeah.
that. Mm-hmm.
There's a
Yeah.
system to it.
Mm-hmm.
How about
More
the
so.
date of your death? Was that part of it? Is that something we know going in? The date will come back?
Not really.
Okay.
She's starting to give me a really long explanation and then just said, you know what? Not really.
Her intention was fulfilled during that lifetime. She learned about her value, or value in being of, you know, on earth, a human, and how that context plays around here. And that was enough. Is that right? There could have been a deeper exploration of it.
Yeah, so she's saying, you know the words perfect storm, right?
Yes, very much so.
Okay. From a soul perspective, the exploration, the uncovering of it was perfect. It was enough. And when you can do it as often as you want, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Right? Okay. So she says, so from there it was great. From the perspective of Norma, oh, she's using Norma. From the perspective of Norma, and she, oh, okay. She's okay. Well, now we got talking fast. Can't tell if it's me. She says that she essentially she buried Norma Jean. Norma Jean was dead, right? And so she doesn't in her life she didn't, it wouldn't have been necessarily a fond reference, right? She wanted to be Marilyn. And all right. But that from the perspective of Norma or Marilyn, it was a bit much and a bit disappointing. And which we all feel, right? Sometimes.
Yeah.
And but she's saying it wasn't intentional. It wasn't that she said I'm out. Not really. It wasn't like that. But it was a lot. And okay, so she wasn't intentional, but she says she knew at some point she was still awake. She said she knew she was leaving. She knew it. She said she knew it. She's saying she wanted to say goodbye or she was saying goodbye. So there were a couple things going on, right, from her perspective as Norma or Marilyn. It was disappointing.
What was disappointing?
Other people were disappointing to her, and yeah, the transactionality of everything was disappointing to her.
It seemed as if people were still buying her.
We're trying, yeah.
Yeah. Marrying Marilyn or dating Marilyn is status.
Right. Well, so she's saying that's just what you know, right? That's
Yeah.
what you know. That's from the time of her life that we know of her. But for the majority of her life, she was an orphan with ugly shoes and wore the same thing every day. She says, I wore the same thing every day. She was the least important person in poverty-stricken household after poverty-stricken household.
Yet she was valuable from a perspective of government money and that
Right.
she could work.
Mm-hmm.
So she
Right.
had value there.
Value in that. And then
Then she becomes the most famous woman.
when she's in Hollywood, though, she's like an extra or a bit part, like maybe not an extra, but she has one line where she says, excuse me, or, she's doing that. It's like, she's like, I walk a couple feet and, excuse me, ma'am. Right. And then walk away, right. Get bumped out of the way. And those scenes get cut. And some very kind people befriended her and honestly befriended her, didn't anything. And then, but there were so many more that, it wasn't, I mean, her value was not that she made them look good because she was a nobody, right? But it was, they're going to try to make her a promise and, like heads of studios and stuff like that. Okay. So for a long time, she was a, she was a nobody, so her value, she just people just wanted to use her, right? And
Mhm.
so that was part of the exploration there, right? She's saying she didn't fall for that, as tempting as it could have been.
What did
Um,
she think about heaven or the non-physical when she was Marilyn, from Marilyn's perspective?
she thought God was, she did go to like services and things like that. She went and she watched things and saw things and watched like the evangelists and saw that. So she's saying she believed in God. She even did that when she was an adult, as like something interesting to do, to just watch them. That's funny. Um, but God was a sad concept because the only person, someone, either their mother, somebody close to her, mother, aunt, somebody told her God, or people told her, I guess maybe, God loves you and is always looking out for you. And she thinks that's sad. She thought that was sad that the only person who loved her and was really there looking out for her, she couldn't see them or touch them. That's what she
Mm.
believed about God.
And how connected was she to her inner self during her life?
She said it not, in some ways vary, right? In some ways vary because she listened and followed, followed her inspiration a lot, but in other ways not at all. So probably like the average person.
Yeah. Well, the person who has an obsession or a very strong passion or desire, does that make it easier for the inner self to connect or to communicate in
No,
that area?
in that area, yes, to
Yeah.
some, well, yeah, sort of, yeah. Uh, no, she's saying it. No, it's not. Doesn't make it easier. No,
Okay.
no, because it's
It's too focused.
it's because of the focus. Some things you might hear that someone else wouldn't hear,
Mm.
but you also are going to ignore things in a greater way too because of your singular focus.
If she could have guided herself, knowing what she knows now, would there be anything that she would do to enable that connection a little bit better?
Pretty simple what she's saying, but she's prefacing it and then ending it with, this is hypothetical, right? And this is just to give you an idea. It's not necessarily a truth. Okay. Okay. She says, would not one time have ever listened to anything that anyone said to her about herself that wasn't in love. Never.
Mm. Yeah.
Right? Never. Huh. Okay.
Yeah.
She would have shut out those voices. It would have given her more time to hear her own.
Mm.
Hmm.
Awesome. Was she is it, I don't know about how this process works obviously, but when she did return to non-physical, was she surprised by what she saw, or does she remember, you go through a period of just remembering?
Yeah, she said there's there's no surprise. There's no surprise. It's, if anything, it might be akin to relief.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Yeah.
Hmm.
um is it really fun returning to non-physical?
Yeah, she's um chuckling there, right? Chuckling there that, like, is it is it fun? It's, she's just saying it's everything. It's right, it's everything. It's everything. Yes, it's fun, but it's so much bigger than fun. She's
What does she
funny.
think about having this interview with us?
I'll take any chance to talk about myself. So,
Great.
Don't other
Um,
people try to talk to you and bring you in? You know, you would think other people would.
ask her. Do other people try and bring you in?
Yeah, yeah, okay. The specific trying, right? For in this where we are, the specific trying is it makes it impossible for them to hear and hear her at all because they're trying to. That was just
Okay.
and you know
So
that. I'm like, I
yeah.
know that.
So the way
She's
we
you know
did it was
that.
perfect. We got a group together, we whittled it down, and whoever came came.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you honed in on Marilyn Monroe,
Well, I
right?
got the
Oh.
thought, so
Well, I mean, okay, so it must have been her.
yeah.
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 Or Seraphim. Yeah,
Yeah.
saying, let's talk to her. Yeah. That was pretty cool.
Um, were there any specific people that you had an agreement with? Maybe one or two that were also famous that you came in and participated together in your own intentions, crossed paths or met up or did something
Mm-hmm.
with each other. And
Yes.
is it okay to say who they were?
Yes. Okay. She's gonna give us one.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's a man at studio, is like a studio, like a manager or a head man, Mr. Shank. Mr. Shank. Shank. Do I have that right? Yeah, I have that right. Like a twin, like a
Mm-hmm.
twin kind
Twin
of
flame.
yeah. He was older, much older than her, and it was just someone that like looked after her, and he would have her to his house, she's saying, and eat, and just helped her, um, and looked after her. Mr. Shank. I can't. She's trying to get me, but she's not saying a first name. She's just calling him that. Mr. Shank. Um, first first studio job.
Joe Schenk, Schenck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who is that?
He was the older guy at Fox.
Who's at Fox? Okay, she's telling me it was her first studio job, like first job, first studio, first
Yeah.
movies.
And
Okay.
did they
That's crazy.
did
Okay.
did they know it when they right away when they met? Could they feel it? It had to develop.
Yeah, she's saying he did, she didn't, and she just admired him and didn't really understand too much why he was friends with her other than she made a really nice table decoration, right, at dinners, right? But he, you know, he never, I mean, it wasn't like that, it
Sure, but it
just
was when it's funny because when we think about twin flames meeting, it seems like when you first meet that person, you
yeah,
instantly
she
are
didn't
drawn
though.
to them. Okay.
Yeah, but he was she was too unworthy,
Yeah.
right, to recognize that. So
What does history get wrong about Marilyn?
most everything. Um, okay. She wasn't that sexual. She wasn't that interested in sex at all. But she was very interested in things that were natural, like nudity.
Mm-hmm.
And she thought that that was a great thing and didn't understand why that was such a big deal. Right? Didn't understand why sex was such a big deal, but it just wasn't. People thought that she was this super hyper sexual thing, and she said that was completely made up. She learned how to speak that way.
Mm-hmm.
She's
Sure.
she says she's saying, hold on, she learned how to have her eyes look emotional,
Mm.
but they weren't. Okay, let me keep going here. She's saying some stuff here. So um most people and most history thinks that she did sort of sell herself to, right, the be with this one or be with that one, and for this role and that role, and to be, to get famous, but she didn't.
But it's sort of like Dean Martin pretending to be drinking all the time.
Yeah.
Apparently, he wasn't drinking. Did she ever really fall in love during her life?
Oh yes, she says. Oh yes. Oh
And
yes.
what's the difference between what we call love and what you felt in those times compared to what you perceive love is now, from your perspective now?
What we feel as love is far emptier. It's far more empty. It's she's saying it's hollow and light and jagged. She says it's jagged. What it is actually is the opposite of that. It's filling, it's heavy, and it's soft. Okay, that's a pretty good explanation. I love that. That's pretty good. She gave me a visual and and textural. Okay. Wow.
Is there any like specific fact that someone doesn't know, or like just say 99% of the population or anyone listening to this wouldn't know that would be interesting?
When she says there's something I would think is interesting, which is that she has family in Kentucky.
Oh, okay.
That's funny. She has a connection there. Okay, let's see what else she's got here. She had like what is that, a tow truck? I'm thinking she's trying to tell me she had her car repossessed, but I'm not sure. Is that right? And she didn't like police officers very much as an adult. She don't like police. She has a problem with the police. That's funny.
Who was her favorite, like, other actor? Did she have any really close friends or someone she admired or liked being around?
She's like many of them, but she said one of her first like experiences of someone was, is that Olivia de Havilland, maybe, that she liked and admired. Clark Gable she admired because she thought he looked like her father. She idolized him because he looked like her dad. Wow.
Did you get to meet him?
She did. She did get to meet him. She says contrary to popular belief, she admired Elvis Presley, but she didn't have an affair with him. But she admired him. She's saying that oddly, there are some really wonderful people that she met, but that for the most part, most of the people that were important, that were either famous or responsible for making you famous, were dull AF, like really dull. Like it was boring. They were boring. The only thing that made them more fun was when they would drink and party, and then they were more something. They were a little more interesting.
Was it interesting hanging out with the Kennedys? Or were they boring too?
No, no. No, she loved them. Somebody named Pat. Is there a Pat Kennedy that she's talking about?
I'm sure.
No, she interesting. A lot of fear, a lot of control, a lot of like, okay, here's the analogy she's giving me. It's like you had to sign an NDA every time you had a meal.
Mm,
right? She was always being sheltered from this, sheltered from that. Don't say this. Don't talk about this. Go in the back here. That's sort of the way she's showing it to me. Like, so okay. So she felt comfortable. She felt like friendship. She felt love, but then felt on the other hand like she was not good enough or an
mm,
embarrassment to them in some ways.
mm.
I think that's what she's trying to say.
Yeah, Pat Kennedy was John F. Kennedy's sister and married Peter Lawford,
Yeah,
who was in
she's
the
talking
family.
about Pat. When you said Kennedy, she's like Pat,
Yeah,
Pat. Like,
yeah,
so I didn't know there was okay. All
yeah.
right. Yeah, that's who she. That must have one of the Kennedys. She must have really. Yeah.
And
Liked.
there's the rumors that she was having an affair with them and that it wasn't a suicide.
No, she's grinning. She says, "What? Don't you like the mystery?" Um,
I do like the mystery, actually.
yeah.
It is an excellent mystery.
Yeah. Um, there's a lot. Okay, a lot of fear and a lot of control. Her own included. Okay. She's not being direct, but I don't get the sense that anybody did anything, really did anything to her
Yeah.
in that sense. I don't think anyone really killed her. She's like, there are things that are blown out of proportion, and there are things that, if put together in a certain way, are going to lead you to believe that that's a possibility, but that's
Mm,
not what it is.
okay. How well do you know Christy and I from us just meeting you now?
Intimately is the word she says.
Do you have access to everything instantly, right?
Yes.
But are we anyone you follow along with? Is it are we interesting to you?
One word, smashing. That's a funny word. Smashing.
Was the 50s and 60s the best time in America, in Hollywood? Was it? It seems like it was so fun.
Now, always now is always the
The
best
best.
time.
Yeah.
Always the best time.
But to have that experience that you had, it wouldn't be the same now. That
It
was the
couldn't
perfect time
no,
for you.
that was the only time to right for that to work in
Yeah,
that
because
way.
there was massive fame, yet it seems like there was an innocence to it all too. Maybe not the paparazzi that would come later and with social media.
Right. The on the scale that we have it now, and it's but she said it's not so much the scale feels, as you can tell, feels the same to us as it felt to her. The difference in the feeling is the time it takes. The time it takes for something to make it. There was more time to spend. There was more time to prepare. This happened.
Mm,
Somebody got a photograph. Okay, you have time. You don't
yeah.
have that now, but it's out, and hundreds and thousands of people have seen it before you're aware that it even happened. Right?
Yeah.
That right. So
But then
that
again,
wasn't the case for them
a nude photo of Christy coming out now, even if it came out tomorrow, wouldn't be a big deal
at all. Right.
because just the society has changed.
The
How was that a really big deal for you back then, for
it
Marilyn?
was this was a very big deal, but the thing was, she says, okay, she says she knew when she was taking the pictures midway through it. You know what? If I'm ever famous, this is going to be an issue, right? So she knew it,
Well,
but she needed the money.
yeah. But did it turn out to be an issue, or did it turn out to
It
even
was
further?
very scandalous at the time, but yes, the is part of the supporting evidence of any publicity is good publicity,
Mhm.
right?
And it made it to Playboy, you know,
Right.
which was
So it
which made
wasn't.
Playboy. Actually, Playboy probably wouldn't exist without those pictures.
That's what she
'Cause-
says. Yeah,
Yeah.
she says, of course not. All right,
Wow.
yeah.
Were you highly emotionally sensitive?
Not at all.
Okay. Did that make what you did possible?
Yes.
Okay. And did you have the intention to expand in joy?
Yes.
Does everyone have that intention,
Yes.
but few fulfill it?
Very few. This is difficult.
Yeah.
This is difficult.
Was
Yeah.
meditation a possibility for her? Was that even offered to her or brought up to her?
Not really. Uh, prayer, contemplation, those types of words and ideas were more in her experience. But the to recognize the the benefit of it or the value of it, no.
Was there a specific talent that you came in with?
Yeah, she says it was her mind. Her mind.
Her
She was
mind being,
much smarter than anyone thought, and
mm,
that's why she was able to do what she did.
mm, wow.
That's interesting.
Have you had many lives on Earth? Were you prepared for what it's like here?
You're never prepared. Never prepared. But she said yes, she'd had them, yes, but
Uh-huh.
you're never prepared.
How was she able to qualify to come to Earth? As we hear this, there's a lot that want to come, a lot that don't want to come, but there seems to be some waiting list, or is that simply now at this time?
That's a one, she says that's a way to understand it from our perspective here. It's a match, and it takes quite a bit to be a match to
Mm,
it, right?
mm,
To be a match to it. And then there's a balance. So there's no, it's not just unlimited, right? There's a balance to the coming in and going and the coming in and going and the where. And it's always a match. And those without without she's just say let's call it conscious experience, um it's not even a possibility.
How unique is Earth as realities go? Is it really the only place that you could have this kind of experience?
It is, but she says what does that mean exactly, this kind of experience? Yes,
Well,
it's
forgetting
unique.
and separation.
It is unique in that there are others, but not to this degree. This
And
is a is
what's the
okay,
benefit?
she's saying
Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah. And what's the benefit that she saw in coming here?
Essentially it's a challenge. It's the PhD, it's the right, it's the highest bungee jump, it's the free climb, it's if you make it, if you if you when you get out of it, it's oh my God, right? Amazing. Yeah. So, and
And was
it is the being separated. Oh, okay. Being separated, the feeling of individuality allows for an experience of things that are physical that you just can't have. So, right, touch in the way you can, taste in the way you can, humor in the way we can, all of those things aren't possible without really believing that you're separate. Imagine every degree that you're aware of your connection, it dulls it all down a little bit. So this is the high intensity. and that's fantastic. Okay.
And is there anything unique and special about right now on Earth, what's happening now?
There's a lot, but what is fun, unique, special to watch is the connection between humans and the contact with those from other planets beginning to happen. The the it's like blinking eyes all of a sudden, right? Thinking alone and realizing that there's so much more, and that's to give you something specific. She says that's really interesting.
Yeah, we've had we've had a little bit of that ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Well, is there any
Oops.
parting thing that you'd like to leave us with before we conclude?
She said we she said she was going to give us speech exercises. We need to practice our speech.
Our enunciation
Mm-hmm.
or really?
Yeah. She's going to give us, she's given me this thing, how
Yeah.
in
The
My Fair Lady,
yeah,
the
the
rain in
rain
Spain
rain
falls
falls
mainly on
mainly
the
on the
plain.
plain.
Yeah, so it's much harder than that. But yeah, she said we need speech exercises
Yeah,
if
well,
we want to be on screen.
my drama teacher used to say, "Enunciate, Gary, enunciate."
Oh, really? Well, that's
Uh,
kind of what she's saying.
I know.
That's what she's leaving us with.
All right, well, we promise to improve in the future,
Okay,
or put this all through AI and only release it in Spanish.
in Spanish. Oh, Lord. All
Well,
right.
thank you so much for being
Thank
here.
you.
Thank you, Christy.
Okay,
This was fun.
sure.
How do you feel?
I mean, tired, but it's okay.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I can't. That's so great. You said is Marilyn Monroe in that crowd. I'm like, yeah,